Hey Dan, so what have you been doing lately?
I'll tell you what I've been doing lately. I've been going to college parties and I've been having a good time. You could even say I've developed a little bit of a taste for Miller Lite.
Oh Dan, there's such better beers out there.
Oh, judgy.
What have you been doing lately? Your life could use improving greatly. I just wanted to know what's going on, but everything that goes is going wrong. What have you been doing lately? Your life could use improving greatly. I just wanted to know what's going on, but everything that goes is going wrong.
Hello and welcome to Sadie Hawkins Pod.
Hey, we're back. And we got April.
We do got April.
We got April, and she's shredding up her bed. Hey, don't look all cute in me. We got engineer April here. Yes, she's a dog, but she's still our podcast engineer. She's the best in the business.
It's true.
So, Jess,
Yeah.
what have you been doing lately? Because we're back. We're back and ready to podcast again for this week. And yes, this week we'll be talking about the song What Have You Been Doing Lately off Anatomy of Tongue in Cheek. And we picked that song specifically because Relient K is back.
I know. We have
Question mark.
Relient K news.
I know, Relient K came out of hibernation, out of nowhere. Over the last week, they haven't tweeted or done any kind of social media posts since January. And all of a sudden, this last week, they came up with a new tweet.
And even that was to plug that Thiessen was like playing with May, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
The earthquake, Matt Thiessen and the Earthquakes were playing. So on September 13th, out of nowhere, Relient K has their first new tweet. And I was at work at the time, and I text Jessica, and I'm like, Jessica, Relient K has tweeted. They're coming out with a new vinyl. It's like, we have to jump on this immediately. Because not only do we have to buy the vinyl, but we also have to be opportunistic for the podcast and get new followers and make people aware of us. So they tweeted the link relientk.com/vote, and they want the fans to actually vote on their 12. Let me look.
12, yeah.
Yeah, their 12 favorite songs. And I did my vote. I did my vote right away, and I ordered the vinyl. And you get the T-shirt we ordered.
Yeah.
Oh, one thing that happened is you can also pre-order the vinyl that's been announced. There's no like artwork or anything. It's just all in the very early stages of developing it.
And the double disc is already sold out.
Oh, good. Okay. I don't mean oh good. Like oh good, it's sold out. But oh good that we got it.
Yes.
So because
yeah,
it was because they had tweeted for less than like 40 minutes when and I was like, oh, if they're back, I better turn on push notifications for their accounts.
Yes.
So I did that. And that's another thing is I found out that everyone seems to believe people were talking in their replies that Matt Hoops must run the social media, which makes sense because he's pretty active on Instagram.
Yeah.
His dog has an Instagram.
Yeah, his company,
Yeah.
1981.
So that's
does
what people
too.
were saying because like all of a sudden not only does Relient K tweet about the new vinyl that they're working on and that they want fans to vote on it, but then he's like replying to some people with jokes. Like one person, their list of 12 songs, they tweeted Sadie Hawkins dance, Sadie Hawkins dance, Sadie Hawkins dance.
I saw that.
And he replied, or whoever, if it's Matt Hoops or whoever runs it, replied and said, I'm about the same. Like that they were co-signing their thing. And then people were like, what's up with Hoops today? It's like he must be bored because he's actually like tweeting back comments and jokes to people. So that's something I learned. Matt Hoops apparently runs the Twitter account.
Yeah, when you texted me this, I was in the middle of something and could not get to it yet. And it wasn't until hours later, like later in the day, that I finally got around to it. And right when I went on Twitter was right when I'm a hockey fan. And
That's right.
Mitch Marner was re-signed to the Toronto Maple Leafs, which this has been like a whole ordeal. And so I was so excited and like reading up on that I totally forgot. And it wasn't until when Danny finally got home from work that I was like, oh, wait a minute. I was supposed to go do the Relient K thing.
Mm-hmm. Yes, well, don't worry because that double set of so you could pre-order the album now. That's something people should be aware of. Go to relientk.com/vote because you can vote on your 12 favorite songs to hope that one of them that's what's on the double set vinyl. But also you can pre-order the record. You can pre-order a package where you get the record and a t-shirt. and apparently this is sold out now. But you could pre-order this, like the big deluxe package, which was the album, a copy of the one of the test pressings, and a T-shirt. I gave Jessica the T-shirt.
Thank you.
And I was thinking maybe I'd buy the smaller bundle of just the record and the shirt.
Maybe you should.
We'd have the record. We'd have 3 copies of the record.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Oh, you know what was funny that happened with the pre-order? The big bundle with the test pressing, the record, and the shirt. I jumped on that. I noticed it was the same price, $60, as just the T-shirt and the regular record. I'm like, that's pretty weird that the test pressing is also $60 along with both bundles.
Right.
I'm like, okay, well, whatever. I'm pre-ordering it right now before it sells out. I order it. I send my PayPal money. And then when I'm, going back to vote, I noticed that the price has gone up to $100. So I was like, oh, I think someone accidentally had it set too low.
Yeah.
So then I emailed back this person at Goatee Records. It was like a Goatee Records email. And I'm like, oh, do you need me to supplement the money I paid so I pay the full amount? Because I don't want to, I was partially thinking like, oh, I'll seem like a good guy. But also, I didn't want them to cancel my order because I paid the wrong amount. So they replied and said, no, you're good. So we got it on the cheap.
Nice.
Yeah. But yeah, there's lots of people were super excited. People were tweeting and...
There we go, Dan. If you want to, supplement that cost, you could just order your own.
Oh, you're right.
Sure.
Yeah, that's half of the cost of the next next shirt. So yeah, it's called... They're calling it right now Relient K All Work and No Playlist, a fan-curated greatest picks vinyl release. And it's like going to be a greatest hits, but it's actually going to be picked by the fans. They're only asking the fans to pick 12 songs. And I don't think a doubled set vinyl would only hold 12 songs.
I don't know.
I think it would hold more than that, right?
I mean,
like I think one.
Like
it depends on how long the songs
Air
are.
for Free is 4 on each side. So.
Okay. Is a double set, and it's got more songs in the CD.
Yeah, it does.
So that's about 16, 17, 18 songs or something, right? So I feel like when you pick 12 songs, one thing I said was like, that we should pick only because they're all on the list. I was like, we should only pick the outro songs and the intro songs and the joke songs and the interlude stuff.
I actually, it said that you could go back and you can only submit from one email address once or whatever, but you can go back and change what you picked.
Oh, okay.
And I actually ended up doing that because my knee-jerk reaction was I ended up just picking all songs from the first 5 albums. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to spread it out a little more. There were 5 songs off of Two Lefts originally, and I was like, no, I gotta share the love. And so I went back. So originally I had, and there's one that I can't remember, but the 11 that I chose for sure were 17 Magazine, Nancy Drew, Sadie Hawkins, Chapstick, College Kids, 80s, Falling Out, Mood Rings, High of 75, This Week the Trend, and the Jefferson Airplane demo. Mm. And then I went back today and I updated it to 17 Magazine, Nancy Drew, Sadie Hawkins, Dance, Falling Out, In Love with the 80s, High of 75, Apathetic Way to Be, Overthinking Acoustic, Must Have Done Something Right, Jefferson Airplane Demo, Mountaintop, and Prodigal.
Sweet. That's a rockin' show. That's a rockin' set list.
That'd be awesome. And my honorable mentions are, at least we made it this far, Candlelight and Air for Free.
Cool.
Because how do you just narrow it down to 12?
You don't. You can't.
It's so
That's the
hard.
problem. Relient K are sort of monsters in the way that they've done this to us. So when I said I'm just voting for intros, outros, and joke songs, someone who's been following us on Twitter from pretty much the beginning, I Run Downhill at I Run Downhill, and then his display name is Clout.
Yep.
He put the list together for me. He said, Kickoff, Lion Wilson, Breakfast at Timpani's, Gibberish, Kids on the Street, that would be, I can't believe that's on the list. That's not even a song. That's such a good idea for this thing. Pleading the Fifth, Crayons, intro and outro from Forget Not Slow Down, Manic Monday, Vinyl Countdown,
I
and Five
love
Iron
Manic
Frenzy.
Monday.
So, and then I just replied with the word "this" and like the goal emoji, like the two
Yeah.
fingers in the L shape, like connected at the thumb. So that's like the perfect list right there.
What did you pick?
I don't remember, and I didn't write them down. And I was looking. I was like, if I click edit your response, could I see what I picked? But I'm
I
afraid it
couldn't
would.
see. Yeah, I
Oh,
couldn't
you
see
couldn't
what I
see
had
when
picked
you edited
before.
it. Okay.
It's just
I think it'll just overwrite what you first put in.
I had texted you what my picks were
Yeah.
at the time. So that's why I knew, but I forgot one. And so when I looked back at that original list, I was like, "Oh, I only have 11 songs here."
Right. I think I definitely picked Don't Blink because I wanted to like give one thing to Collapsible Lung. There are lots of people who like Collapsible. I'm finding there's more people who like Collapsible Lung. Jessica looks disappointed in me. I think I picked Mrs. Hippopotamuses.
It's a good one.
Yeah, I definitely picked 17 Magazine. These are the albums that I only picked one song off of each.
Okay.
I only picked 17 Magazine off of the first album. And I think I did that because I know you love that song, so I
do.
have nice memories about that song.
Yeah.
Isn't that nice? Like
It is.
because I found Relient K, I discovered Relient K when that was the only album out.
Yeah.
And I bought that album and I listened to it. But now my favorite memory of that album is that you love the song 17 Magazine. Aw, isn't that sweet? Aren't I? I'm so sweet.
Oh, maybe I picked Charles in Charge. Maybe that was my other one.
Not a bad idea. Yeah, and then
That song rocks.
I'm not really sure. Maybe next week I'll try to remember what I picked. If I look at the list, the thing is, I accidentally had to vote twice because I didn't click submit properly the first time, so I had to put my list back together, and I know I didn't pick the exact same stuff. So I'm really sorry. I went out on our social media and I asked people for their lists. I only got one. We only got one response.
I saw that.
Maybe it's for the same reason that I did. Maybe people weren't writing down their
Yeah.
lists. Because when you're there looking at the ballot, it's a Google Docs
Yeah.
form. They use these same things at work. They take surveys at work and it saves to the Google Docs. And like you click the thing and it doesn't save it.
It'd be cool if they sent you an email that was
Yeah.
like, "Here's your confirmation and here's what
Google
you voted
Docs
for."
does do that. Yeah, maybe that could have been something possible. But let's see. The one response that we did get was to a comment
It was on Instagram.
on Instagram. Yep. Aiden S. Grant said, "This took forever, and it killed me removing songs to get it down to 12, but here you go. Hello McFly, Softer to Me, Sadie Hawkins Dance, Chapstick, In Love with the 80s. I definitely put In Love with the 80s on my list. The One I'm Waiting For, I Need You, Must Have Done Something Right, The Last, The Lost, The Least." That counts as one song, not three. For the Band, I definitely picked For the Band. That's one of my favorite underrated Relient K songs. Forget Not Slow Down. I might have picked that. I might have picked I Don't Need a Soul. And then he also picked Candlelight.
Nice.
And he considers to say, "It should be noted that these are in chronological order, not by favorite, and I really tried to spread them out across as many records as possible, except Collapsible Lung, because, well, you know." So
We
Aiden
do
S.
know.
Grant doesn't... Jessica knows. But I picked Don't Blink. I love Don't Blink. There's the... We don't need to do more Collapsible Lung talk.
You don't love Boomerang?
Boomerang's awesome. I love that beat. Yeah, so that's what we got there. And so, yeah, we picked What Have We Been Doing Lately, because I was like, I almost wanted us to do My Way or the Highway, because that's the song where he's like, where he says, "I didn't vote, but I'm not proud because I'm Canadian and I'm not allowed." But then Jessica didn't really, like, that song didn't click in her memory. She's like, "I don't really know that song too well."
Yeah, I only sing the chorus of that.
You didn't know, like, the rest of the song.
I just know that
It's
My
also
Way or the
from
Highway to
Anatomy
Hell
of Tongue.
part.
They're both Anatomy songs.
I don't know a lot of Anatomy songs.
Right.
I realized.
Yeah.
This was an album that I definitely kind of picked and, chose what I listened to off of
Okay.
and did a lot of skipping around.
Did you have an iPod with limited space and you had to, like, cut songs out of albums to, like, make space on your 1 gigabyte iPod?
No, I just had my favorites and only put my favorites wherever.
Oh, okay. Well, they both would have been Anatomy of Tongue-in-Cheek songs. So we picked a different Anatomy of Tongue-in-Cheek song. We picked What Have You Been Doing Lately? Because people have been wondering, what has Relient K been doing lately? They haven't played since 2017. According to songkick.com, which is my favorite concert tracker, they played in 2019 in Los Angeles.
What?
But they didn't.
Oh.
Somebody...
I was going to say.
Because it says Relient K with May at the El Rey Theater in Los Angeles, California.
No, it's because
it was Matt
touring with
Thiessen and the
them,
Earthquakes and whoever was in charge of putting the thing together on Songkick. I don't know how Songkick gets its data if people like submit it. I don't think anyone can submit it. I assume like concert promotion or like wherever concert data comes from ticket sites or something.
Right.
That's why I normally like Songkick, because like they don't always tell me about concerts before I learned about them through emails or whatever, but they'll tell me pretty close. But yeah, they messed up on that one. So we did not miss Relient K earlier this year. We would have been like really horrible fans.
Yeah. Do we have any voicemails this week?
Oh, we do have a voicemail. But and a couple weeks ago, I missed our friend Rich Nelson. He had left a voicemail a week or two ago, and he also left us a comment at one point when I was asking for people to give feedback, maybe to Softer to Me or Faking My Own Suicide or something. And he was asking, or maybe it was in the voicemail. You know what? I don't remember. I talked to Rich a lot online. At one point, Rich was like, what's Matt up to? What are they up to? What's going on with the band? And we didn't actually answer his question that week. And the answer is Relient K has been on this hiatus, and no one really knows. A lot of people I see on Twitter sometimes theorize that they're like done, like they think they're like maybe not coming back or anything. But if it's Hoops who runs the Twitter account, whoever runs the Twitter account found a tweet from back in January where someone was like, hey, it's 2019, Relient K, it's time to do your 10-year Forget Not Slow Down anniversary tour. And the official Relient K Twitter account replied to that tweet from 8 months ago,
right,
and said, maybe in 2020 or 2021. So I was like, ooh. Because if it is Matt Hoops, he's one of the two proper members of the band now. Yeah, right?
I saw something about a potential
there was
tour
somebody
up,
else.
maybe?
Somebody else a while ago said, and it wasn't this particular tweet that the official account replied to, but somebody else tweeted, when's there going to be a 10-year anniversary of Forget Not Slow Down tour? And it wasn't the official account that replied. It was somebody else that replied, maybe. I think John Schneck definitely got in the thing. Yeah, it was John Schneck. I was thinking maybe Ethan Luck replied as well, but maybe not. Definitely not. It was just John Schneck who said, this is a great idea. I would love for it to happen. Something along those lines.
Okay.
And that got a lot of people going. I saw people talking about that on the Reddit. They were like, could this be it? Because John Schneck said he wants to do the 10-year Forget Not Slow Down tour. But now somebody who runs the official Relient K site said, yeah, our Twitter account said, yeah, we'll do that maybe.
That's awesome. So, I mean, do you know what has to happen next year though? The 20-year self-titled tour where they play every song off the self-titled album.
Yeah, that's right.
I cannot wait to hear My Girlfriend live.
For the first time in almost 20 years, pretty much.
That's never going to happen.
I know.
I'm so jealous that you got to hear it live, Danny.
I know. I'm sorry. I also have some other memory where I was hanging around. Most of my memories of talking to Relient K happened at Soulfest in New Hampshire in various years. But I was hanging around them again some other time, and somebody else was like having their time talking, and I was just kind of standing there eavesdropping, like in a group. And they said, and someone asked, oh, are you going to play My Girlfriend, Marilyn Manson, My Girlfriend? And Matt Thiessen was like, no, we're not really playing that song anymore. And this is only a year out from that album, maybe a year and a half out from that album. So I'm very sorry that they haven't played. But I also replied on the Twitter, I'm like, how about a 3-year anniversary tour of Air for Free?
Ooh, I'd take that.
Because when we saw the Searching for America tour, we talked about it. We didn't really absorb the Air for Free songs at the time. Yeah, but we have a voicemail. So that's Relient K news. Very exciting. Again, is it because our podcast came along? Yes. Wait, I don't even know if I said that in... We had one failed recording earlier. So I didn't say it in this version of the podcast. I would just like to ponder Relient K goes on this hiatus. No one's really heard from them in almost 2 years. They haven't tweeted in over half a year. Our podcast starts. We have a solid, more than 50, less than 150 listeners every given week, somewhere in that range. I'm not going to say where in that range. I don't want to say because it might ruin the chance for advertisers later. I don't want to say exactly how many listeners we have. But all of a sudden, we start our podcast.
If the execs at CCM are listening.
Yes. We start our podcast, and all of a sudden, Relient K comes back out with this news about a greatest hits sort of collection. Is it? I'm just saying, is it because of us? When I started MXPX Memes, like a couple months later, MXPX announces their new album.
Oh, you're good luck.
I'm the good luck charm, maybe.
What else can we start a podcast about, or you start an online community for?
What kind of shows do you want to come back? Freaks and Geeks?
Yeah, Freaks and Geeks. Agent Carter.
Oh, there you go.
Actually, I'm good. I'm happy with where Endgame left it. I'm so happy
right.
now.
You kind of got your sort of finale to that show.
I did. I'm good.
Agent Carter was Jessica's one of her favorite TV show when it was on the air. Season 1, but then season 2 came out, and that was her collapsible lung of Agent Carter. And then it got canceled, and there were all these strings left from the first season that never got resolved, and all she'd ever do is talk about
contradictory stuff in season 2. Just.
But then when Endgame happens and Agent Carter ends up with Captain America at the end, Jessica was beaming. She's like,
spoiler warning.
Whatever. Hey, the spoiler warning ended like 2 weeks. The Russo brothers said it.
Yeah.
So yeah, Jessica was so happy. She's like, they're together in canon.
Yeah. I don't just have to read fanfic anymore. It's for real.
So that's the news. That is what Relient K has been doing lately. So before we start talking about the song, what have you been doing lately off Anatomy of Tongue in Cheek, we do have one voicemail from Andrew from Magnified Pod, the MXPX podcast, our friend.
Right on.
Hey, Danny and Jess, this is Andrew. Sorry it's been a while since I've called in. Feel like I've been slacking. And especially since Softer to Me, I really wish I'd called in before you guys did the episode, so I feel like I blew it. But it's so funny that you guys said that the rhythm of Matt Thiessen's singing makes you think of Adonai by the Supertones, because in my mind, when he, like, I think about the Supertones song Unknown. So I think it's funny that you guys think it reminds you of Adonai, and I think it sounds like a completely separate Supertones song. So I think that's so bizarre that we both have that association. But especially the line that makes me think, I like mash up the lines between the two songs. When Matt sings, they're covered with a film, you're blinded by yourself, I think of the line, thinking that Christians only love Jesus for their health, from Unknown. So it totally works. The rhythm of those lines, they work so well together.
So yeah, so it seems like
definitely a Supertones influence.
Yeah. It's so that, I don't know. I like I said, it was
something about the pacing and like
it's like
yeah.
And it's the thing is like the Supertones, Mojo from the lead singer of that band, he's known for his rapping style.
Right.
Like that's how he does his lyrics. And it's not that Softer to Me is not a rap song at all, but there's just something about it's just that rapid fire rhythm that he does this, and so it kind of could fit multiple songs. That's fine. But I totally get what he's saying, like blinded by a film or whatever, blinded by yourself, covered in a film, and he's like thinking that Christian just love Jesus for their health.
It could be an influence on the song, honestly. It could have been like a subconscious thing. We'll get to it when we talk about what have we been doing? What have you been what
you been doing lately?
What have you been doing lately?
I said last week that Softer to Me, I think, was basically Matt Thiessen's attempt at sort of a post-hardcore, sort of like a Fugazi type band, which is what and this is ahead of Boxcar Racer, basically doing the exact same thing, taking the Fugazi artsy post-hardcore aesthetic and trying to give a mainstream edge to it. So now I'm thinking to myself, how amazing would it be if there was some sort of like Fugazi supertones mashup, like the super Christian lyrics and the rapping, but then the really like angular, like artsy minded, DIY, what's it called? Do it yourself. DIY. Like, whatever. You got what I'm saying. That would be amazing. Supertones Fugazi crossover band. That's what I'm looking for from you people. Get out there and make it happen. Just take whatever the name of your county is and call it the Fugazi Tones. So we live in LA County, so we're the LA County Fugazi Tones. But then Andrew has more to say.
Also, I want to get in on this Relient K covers business. So I don't know if there's a way to know what songs you guys are going to be doing next, but I want to throw together a garbage cover just to be like, hey, I want to get in on this. Why not? Why the hell not? Let's have a little fun. I haven't busted out my guitar in a while. Maybe it's time for me to start doing a little bit of Relient K cover action. And also, Jess, need to work on your metal comparisons. You know, I know maybe you're not a big metal fan, but, you know, I think what was it, Breaking Benjamin? Was that one of your comparisons? Nah, bro. My final thing before this cuts me off, the double bass in Softer to Me is dope. So, for some reason, at some point in high school, I was under the impression that the drummer was only using one bass pedal, and that he was just that amazing. I don't know where I got that from. All right, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.
So yeah, no, you didn't mention Breaking Benjamin. I don't even think you know who they are. You mentioned Avenged
I've
Sevenfold.
heard of
You've
Breaking
heard
Benjamin, but I am not a metal head at all. I'm a hair metal head.
Oh, that's right, you
Hells
are.
yeah.
You totally are. We went to see Def Leppard, which is not really a hair metal band, but they're just kind of adjacent.
Oh, I love Def Leppard. Favorite band. I have a striper patch on my jean jacket. Love hair metal.
So yeah,
but regular metal, not so much. But I do know some Avenged Sevenfold because a friend gave me their CD.
Oh, okay.
A friend gave me their CD when I was in high school.
I assumed it was from Guitar Hero, and I'm an idiot for thinking that...
No, I mean, that's probably, honestly, where any other of my metal knowledge comes from. For a second, I was like, I know one Insane Clown Posse song, and I'm like, no, that's like rap rock. That's not metal. That's how little I know about metal.
Yeah. So, yeah, well, so to tell you that, so to answer Andrew's other question... yeah, we barely knew what song we were doing this week, right?
Yeah.
Like, we pretty much picked it right up to the end. So maybe if we started playing some stuff down the line. The only thing I'm trying to do is, like, in our selections is not do the same album, like, within 3 weeks of each other. That's, like, my only rule that I'm imposing on Jessica. So
yeah, maybe we should sit down and come up with, like, what we're going to do for the next month. Month or two.
Yeah, so thank you very much, Andrew, for calling. And if anyone out there would like to call, you just leave a voicemail. Let us know what you think of the show. You can, if you've been listening to past episodes, please go ahead. We'll go back and talk about old episodes as well.
Yeah, especially if you have a story. It could be a story where you interact with the band. It could just be about the way the song has touched your personal life. We want to hear about it.
And we want to hear people who like Collapsible Lung.
Yes.
Which I enjoy Collapsible Lung. I wouldn't say I like it, but I enjoy it. But we want to hear from both sides of that debate. So call us at 402-95-SADIE. And you can also send us an email at sadiehawkinspod@gmail. And our Instagram and our Twitter are both very active. When they're all me.
Yes. And both of those are at Sadie Hawkins Pod.
I'm the Matt Hoops of the Sadie Hawkins Pod social media.
That he is. Yeah, because I also got an email about the vote, but like 2 days later.
Oh yeah,
because I don't check. I don't even check my email every day. Okay. Like I'm very bad on the internet.
The email did go out at the same time, but I saw the tweet before I saw the email. So we can get into this week's song and find out what have you been doing lately.
I love the music in this song. I love that it's a little bit of like a harder pop punk sound. I love the shouting screamo breakdowns. The lyrics, not so much. This is a song I never gave a ton of thought to, though. Mm-hmm. But for some reason, and I double checked, I looked on the Bird and the B-sides, and it's not there. And I'm like, is this just something you and I did? I could have sworn there was an Oi version of this song.
What?
I could have sworn there was a version where in the breakdown part where they're like doing whatever, they're like, oi, oi, but it doesn't exist. And I'm like, is that just something you and I have done?
Maybe. I have multiple songs in our lives that I've done that to your brain.
Yeah.
Because what's the Duran Duran Girls on Film?
Film.
So when they're like girls on film, and then when we're listening to that song, I'll go film during the part in between the lyrics. And then one day Jessica was like, they're not saying film on the song. And I'm like, that's just something I do, Jessica.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh.
So I think both of us are just over the years, because we like Oi music and ska and stuff like that, we tend to like do that where we'll just like add goofy stuff to a song. And I think this is one of those things. It's a real Berenstain situation.
Yeah. There's sort of a pseudo ska guitar at the beginning.
Yeah, this is a song you can skank to.
You can skank to this song. I don't know if it really qualifies as a ska. I mean, the song itself is obviously not a ska song, but I don't know if the opening chord really qualifies as ska per se. But I do think it's got like a skankable beat. There's there's a thing with ska where it's like sometimes people like NoFX. They've gotten better with ska over the more recent years, but that song Bob, that's barely a ska song, and people call that a ska song. They call that a ska song. I know you don't know the song I'm talking about, but don't worry. Don't worry.
I know Save the Clams. Because I had a friend in high school who was obsessed with NoFX. Actually, I had two friends in high school who were obsessed with NoFX, and one of them would run around going, save the clams, and that is all that I know about NoFX. Except that I've seen them like twice, but I don't remember anything.
Did they actually say that? Because the song's called Clams Have Feelings Too.
I don't know. They just said save the clams all the time.
Okay. That's just a pseudo. That's not even the lyric from the song. They just were inspired, I guess, by that
some
song.
NoFX fans, they were.
And the point is, you can eat clams because they don't have central nervousness. Anyway, point is, early NoFX ska songs like barely qualify as ska songs to me. Like they're like you're supposed to be offbeat and they're slightly onbeat and all these things. Point is, some people do little ska things and it doesn't always quite work out. And I don't think they were trying to do a ska thing necessarily, but they just kind of have that skankable guitar.
Yeah, and I mean,
chords.
they toured with ska bands and stuff at the time, so.
Yeah, I love this song. I picked it. This was one of my picks to do early on, like when we were still in the first 8 episodes. I was like, I think we're going to do What Have You Been Doing Lately pretty quickly after we get, and I made it happen. Relient K helped me make it happen because it fits so perfectly the title. Part of the reason I wanted to do this song was because in terms of their sort of judgy Christian themes, I was like, this one might be a little bit fun to talk about. Like when we get to songs like Marilyn Manson, like those may be fun, but also could get heavy. I was like, this one I just think is funny because the Christian judgmental parts of this song, I just think are funny.
Oh, I don't know. I feel like this could go heavy because those Vanessa lines really bother me.
I know. I listened. I never listened to the Vanessa lines. The Justin lines. So before we get to Vanessa,
and I never even read into the Miller Lite thing at all. Like I just thought it was, like an aside. Right. I never read the accusatory part of it until now.
Well, I became of two minds of it so later on. So at the time when this album came out, I really didn't put much thought into this song because, like, especially just being in youth group and stuff, like, there's a culture war. And I don't know if it exists. I assume it has to exist today in other churches. But there's sometimes just like a culture war in terms of like Christians who are very like Christians who reject worldliness, right? And like Christians who really segregate themselves off and like only go to Christian businesses and only use Christian products and stuff like that, right?
Oh, wow.
It can get to that extreme. But even if you don't go to that extreme, there's then this other thing of like, just like people are out there sinning all the time. People have to stop sinning. But then there's me at this point, there's a sliding scale of what really constitutes sin, right? And there are even more conservative viewpoints in churches that would think of like girls wearing pants is a sin. You know what I mean? Like dancing is a sin, right? So you sort of slide up and down that slide in terms of like where does like the popular American Christian thought land.
You don't need to bring Footloose into this, Danny.
Well, hey, if I did bring Footloose into this, he uses the Bible to win the argument at the end.
Listen,
David
I like
danced and all that.
I like Kevin Bacon, but I hate Footloose.
I know.
Came in the door. I said it before. I think I'm over you, but I'm really not sure.
What band is that?
LFO.
LFO. This is not an LFO podcast.
Oh, I wish it was.
But anyway, point is, so I'm kind of two minds of the Justin section of this song. So the song is like, what have you been doing late? So just to quickly, the song starts with the chorus. What have you been doing lately? Your life could use improving greatly. I want to know what's going on, but everything is going wrong. There's a little bit more in there. Then he gets into the story section. He says, when I saw Justin, he said he was just in visiting on spring break. I said, what a surprise. You're one of those guys I haven't seen since 1998. We talked for a while, and I tried to smile as he told me about his college life. He parties Fridays through Thursdays, but not for birthdays. He's acquired a taste for Miller Lite. So that's pretty douchey nowadays.
Pardon
right?
me while I throw up. Some people never grow up.
So that part's cringy now.
Ickaroonies, as you would
we're
say.
adults. But when you're like a teenager, and even if you're not necessarily a Christian, but if you're a teenager who just kind of like hates party dudes, everyone. So I became of two minds of this. Like being a Christian and judging someone for drinking, like they're not necessarily drunk. You don't know if they're drunk. We don't know enough about Justin from this song to really know if he's a problem drinker or if he just parties hard because he's cutting loose, right? But like, if you're I have then listened to this song and I'm like, well, maybe he's trying hard to smile because he's realized that Justin is like a sideways baseball hat wearing, polo shirt, popped up, like total D-bag guy since he went to college. And I hate those guys. Yeah. Anyone hates those guys. You can be any religion or no religion. You can be an atheist and hate those guys. It's just from Matt Thiessen in this song, his point of view in 2001, he's like, oh, I can't. Justin's changed a lot in the last 3 years. I saw him in 1998, and now he's a total he's a total a-hole.
So, it's funny because I thought about it and I was like, okay, so Matt Thiessen and the guys were born in 1980. They would have graduated in 1998. The song came out in 2001, so legally, if Justin graduated with them, he could legally be drinking, and maybe he's just had a lot of trouble studying, and midterms are coming up. Life is stressful. He just needs to blow off a little steam with his favorite beverage, Miller Lite. There's nothing wrong in that. He's legal.
I completely agree with you on that point. This is the section that I thought would be funny to talk about, right? Is because that's part of that sliding scale. Like some people, some Christians in some churches be like, oh, you drink beer. Like there's certain things that that are definitely sin. If you believe in the concept, if you even believe in the concept of sin, there are certain things that you gotta understand are sin, like illegal drugs, like harming people, like certain types of sexual behavior.
Are illegal drugs a sin?
I don't know. I'm just maybe not.
I'm asking.
I don't know. Like really harmful drugs that can harm you and harm
people
it's a
around
law,
you. But yeah. Is it a law in the Bible
about illegal drugs? I feel,
because didn't they have like smoke poppy and stuff back in the day?
Is there poppy in the Bible?
Isn't there?
I don't know. There are no penguins in the Bible. That much I know. So penguins were created by man.
Well, what is Relient K doing with so much penguin iconography then?
That's a really good question. Um,
Man, I want to sing this song to collapsible lung era Relient K.
huh.
You know, you go from this to singing about one night stands and drinking and all the stuff that you're being pretty harsh on your buddies for in this era.
And that's another that recalls another thing that I think is kind of wrong-headed, possibly wrong-headed from this song. Is he sees his friend who went to college and starts drinking a lot and starts partying really hard, whether or not he's 21. He's like judging him. He's like, you got a taste for Miller Lite. He's like, what happened to the salvation you had? It's like, but it's there. It's there. Like, if you believe in Christ and you believe in the whole point of him and what he does for you, once you believe in him, you're saved. Period. It doesn't matter.
If you cut out that part of what happened to the salvation you claim, if
Right.
you cut that line out, the song feels so much less judgy, actually.
Right.
It's just kind of a goofy song about, people going away to college and what they're actually like.
I guess from some viewpoints that the idea of seeing someone who's partying really hard, who changed and is like, could be on a destructive road, but, we don't know. Like I said, we don't know enough about Justin's partying habits. You could say that if someone changed and started acting a different way, and you say, what happened to the salvation you had? I keep putting the emphasis like the song. What happened to the salvation you had? It's not that it's gone. It's not like, oh, I'm drinking now, or I'm doing anything like that, and now suddenly I'm not saved anymore. It's more like you have salvation, and when you're a Christian, you're supposed to be in it and like living a certain way. You're supposed to reflect. You're supposed to be Christ-like, right? Because you're a Christian and you're supposed to be a beacon to the world and all that. And if you're out there partying and drinking, then you're not necessarily a beacon to the world anymore. Then again, what if you're partying for Christ? What if you're in there and you're like, yeah, let's drink up, guys. There are monks who make alcohol. Like, alcohol is not an inherently anti-Christian thing. So, you go out there, you party, you're like, yeah, guys, this is totally awesome. Let's go play beer pong. And hey, can I read you a Bible verse? Can I witness to you for a second?
Oof.
Let's go out and cruise for chicks. And while we're out doing that, can I tell you about my testimony?
Another thing about this song is that they are young, and they're supposed to be young. I mean, they're around 21 at this time, but when you go to college, you're still growing. You're still a kid. You're
Right.
still they're like, it breaks my heart how much you've changed, but those are your years
when you
when you
change. People
change
change.
so much, and you start to kind of become the person that you're going to be.
You don't
and you go through a phase. A lot of people go through a phase of sort of wild and craziness or whatever in order to, then slow it down and kind of become who they're going to become. They kind of get it out of their system.
Right.
And there's no reason to judge anyone for that. I get coming from that sort of more, they're coming from a strict sort of Christian standpoint, but it's just,
People are entitled to change.
yeah.
People are entitled to change.
And then there's some people who never change, and they also talk about
Yeah.
that.
They talk about
Some
people
people
who
never
never-
grow up.
Yeah.
And I think we all know someone who never really grew up and is still the same as they were in high school, but some of the, the
Are you
rest of
talking
us.
about me? Because I still listen to ska music? That's so cruel, Jessica.
You do have some t-shirts that you had since high school.
Well, yeah, and I've got a raincoat I've had since middle school.
That's
What's your problem?
So true.
I've got a raincoat I've had since middle school.
He has an Aquabats windbreaker that he has had since middle school.
Oh, no,
and
not
wears it
that
all the
one.
time. Oh, not that one.
No, that I got in high school. No, the one that's the same color as the Aquabats.
Oh.
That's what's called. That's a windbreaker. It's also called a coach's jacket. That's the Aquabats one. No, I've got that blue raincoat. It doesn't have a hood. It's just blue and it zips up. This is
Oh, it
very
looks like the other
fascinating.
one.
I'll take a picture. I don't know why we keep our coats in Los Angeles, but we could go up to the snowy mountains of
Go to Big Bear?
Yeah. So
Also, we visit your family in Boston
Yes.
rather frequently.
Yeah, we do.
So
So now we move along to verse 2 and we check in with Vanessa. Now Vanessa in this song, so this song is basically just the sentiment back and forth between the chorus and the pre-chorus of, asking people, what have you, asking the listener himself or somebody in a general sense, what have you been doing? You could improve your life, all this. It goes back and forth. And you have these two story verses. We already checked in with Justin. We're checking in with Vanessa. Vanessa's lyrics are a little bit less tangible. We don't know really any. We will. I know
it's really vague.
Yeah, she's more vague. Like there's no specific thing with her. It says, and then there's Vanessa. And this part of the song also, I could never really discern these lyrics just listening to the song.
Yeah,
I always had a real hard time. So it was when I looked this up, I'm like, oh, Jessica's going to have a problem with some of this.
That's funny because I was exactly the same. Because I used to rock out to this song, and I never really heard either of these two character breakdowns.
Not to mention Blink-182 for the fourth week in a row. But it's kind of like when Blink-182 writes problematic songs about girls, I need a girl that I can train and all that stuff. This is the opposite of that. Well, then the theory, the thought behind Blink-182 is are they playing characters? Are they playing hyperbolic jerk dudes? Are they basically, because also a song like "Rape Me" by Nirvana is an ironic statement. He's not actually saying he endorses that action. He's, by saying it directly, he's confronting you with the action, the idea of that horrible crime, right? So some people are is Blink-182 doing the same thing when they say I need a girl that I can train? Are they saying something so hyperbolic and misogynistic that they're confronting that misogyny?
So you're saying that Relient K is being the super
hyperbolic, uptight Christian. Conventional wisdom would say for both Blink-182 and Relient K, the answer is no.
No.
Because
I've heard other Blink-182 songs and other Relient K songs.
But this is the opposite version of that. And again, I don't think of Relient K as Blink-182, but as the Christian Blink-182, I don't think of that. I always rejected that notion. But in this sense, it is the yin and the yang of hyperbolic, judgment upon people. So...
And then there's Vanessa.
And then there's Vanessa. Her life got so messed up, she just can't get along. Her emotions, they can't cope, 'cause she's lost all hope. She can't see right from wrong. Rationality left her, or shrunk with her sweater. And I'm like, uh-oh. She's a fanatic. She's over the edge. She needs lemon pledge to clear those cobwebs in her attic. So I read this and at first I'm like, okay, Vanessa's having some trouble. She's got some problems. This is a whole different sort of situation, right? She's got anxieties and problems and difficulties, something's going on in her life.
Yeah. The line, her emotions, they can't cope. She just can't get along. She's lost all hope. This would be the kind of thing that if you really wanted to be a good Christian, you would go up to her and try and support her and love on her,
right,
and help her out instead of being judgy and pointing a finger.
Right. Now this, I really think, when I play devil's advocate against what you just said, I think I believe what I'm about to say. Hypothetically, that might be his message. He might be saying, then there's Vanessa who's messed up and she can't deal and all this stuff. Unfortunately, he doesn't say in the song, go up to her and love on her and support her and write love on her arms and all of that. But that's essentially the same thing. But he doesn't say that in the song, but unfortunately, it might be the subtext. And it would be helpful if the lyric was, or some sort of lyric was in there, a line or two, or an extra verse, or, it seems like he got all the lyrics for this verse about Vanessa, and it might have been hard to fit in that extra word or two, or 5 or 6 that it would have taken to say she needs community and Christian love and support to get out of the situation, right? When you pair Vanessa's story up with Justin, it feels like he must be criticizing Vanessa. He must be judging her, because he absolutely was judging Justin. There's no way around it. Justin was developed a taste for Miller Lite. He's changed. What happened to the salvation you had? Oh, and actually, now that I look back at the lyrics, he said he follows up Vanessa's story with, pardon me while I throw up. That might be an inopportune. Maybe you needed a different version of the pre-chorus there, because Vanessa's problem, as it's presented in this song, should not cause you to throw up. It's like, pardon me while I feel bad. Like, pardon me while I talk to Vanessa.
Yeah, that's the part that makes it really.
I think that
that line.
I think that personally, I think that problem with this song is just a victim of the structure of the song. I think he might have needed to find a different story than Vanessa, or if they extended this song a little bit and there were 3 people in the song, then you'd approach the Vanessa aspect a little differently. And then the line, so we don't really know a lot about Vanessa. We don't know what her problem is. She can't cope. There's something wrong. We don't know what it is. If it's something in her life, if it's just like her mental health, if it's something outside of herself, whatever's causing her to not be able to cope. But then when it says rationality left her or shrunk with her sweater, I was like, ooh, it's just like slut shaming turned up, just a 4. Just a 4 out of 10 on the slut shaming scale.
It's not cool.
Because it's so subtle, and I really could never discern it listening to the song. It's like, so she's wearing tight sweaters.
And I had not actually read the slut shaming part into that until I gave it like a deeper look, because I thought it was just like, because Relient K has fun, goofy lyrics.
Yeah.
It was something that I had discerned earlier when I had listened to it. But, you're like, it shrunk with her sweater. It's like, if you want to destroy my sweater, just hold the string while I walk away. Like, it's just funny and goofy, and it's just, an aside. Kind of like how I thought the Miller Lite thing was just like a nonsensical aside. But then when you realize that they actually read into the little stories that they're describing of the characters, it's not cool, man.
Yeah. I think like you said, the music in this song is awesome. This is a great like pseudo ska opening, pop punk, a little bit heavier than most of the stuff on the album. This song's really fun, but when you deep dive into the song, there is sort of a problem there. And it is so funny, like you said. Like, I think this is obviously and I don't know. I'm thinking of multiple things here. Knowing what we know about Matt Thiessen as a songwriter, like, I feel like there was a Justin. I feel like there actually is a specific Justin, whether or not that's actually the person's name. But I feel like he actually he saw someone he hadn't seen in a while, and he became a partying D-bag, right? But he can't say, like, I saw my friend Justin, and he's a partying D-bag, and he's and I hate him, right? He's a frat boy. So I feel like that's probably a true story. Mm-hmm. Just knowing.
Then what's Vanessa's deal?
And that's the thing, is I don't know. Like, then there's so few details about Vanessa.
This is Matt Thiessen's Hotline Bling.
Jessica knows that I hate Hotline Bling because of the sentiment behind it. I like the track, but the actual lyrics are total BS. It's totally not fair, because he's like, ever since I left the city, you essentially. If you don't, we all know Hotline Bling, but hypothetically, if you don't, go listen to the song. Pause the show, go listen to the song. And now I'm going to give my rendition of Hotline Bling, minus any kind of, like, singing or rapping. Ready? Ever since I left the city, you've gone off and made new friends. You've gone off and tried to find new boyfriends because I left you, and you've tried to move on with your life from me. You've changed. What's your problem? What's wrong with you? You've become so horrible because you went off and tried to live your life after I left you, after I departed from where you lived and left you behind. You should just be staying at home, putting your makeup on the shelf. I want a girl who laughs for no one else. See, now that's a song like Dumpweed. That No One Else by Weezer. I'm going all over the place here, but No One Else by Weezer. That's a song where he's like, I want a girl who laughs for no one else. I want a girl who puts her makeup on the shelf. Rivers Cuomo is playing the character of a controlling boyfriend. Like, there's no way Rivers is like, I want a girl who will laugh for no one else. Like, he means that ironically. Like, he's confronting.
I mean, especially based on what we know about him, I would definitely believe that it's just a joke.
But Drake, on the other hand, I'm like, there's no irony presented in this song. Drake is more like Dumpweed than No One Else or Rape Me or any of those songs. Like, he's not being ironic here. he actually thinks that the girl should just stay at home crying about him since he left the city. What's this podcast about? Relient K? So like I said, I think the message of this song, in hindsight, is a little bit unfortunate. But I think it just kind of, if this song could be reworked or rewritten, I think there's like subtle things you could probably do in here with the lyrics to make it not as judgmental. It's really, like you said, it's just that salvation line. Because if you have salvation, you have salvation, period. That's it. Even if, you don't even ask for it. Maybe you already have salvation. Maybe it's a radical idea that some Christians don't believe and other ones do.
This song is a 4/4 time measure and in an A key.
Ooh, we know about the music stuff. Wow, Jess. What
found...
music school did you go to?
I've enrolled in Berkeley since our last episode.
Oh, great. Are we going back to Boston? We can see Boston this fall. There is a Boston. You're going to the California one?
Yeah, UC Berkeley.
There's a Berkeley, Boston. We could go there. I had friends who went to Berkeley, Boston, School of Notes and Singing, or whatever it's called. What's that thing called when you have notes and singing? Music. That's cool stuff.
So I found this website called findsongtempo.com. I didn't seek it out. It came up when I
came
did
to
my
me in a dream.
It did. It came up when I did my 14-page Google deep dive for what have you been doing lately? I found a blog post from Adelaide Thorne, and the first paragraph says, "No, this is not a post about the Relient K song. It's an honest piece about the fact that sometimes I feel like I'll never be done writing." And then Adelaide goes on to talk about her book series that's a trilogy and the struggles that go along with writing a trilogy.
Interesting.
I then found Relient K flashcards. It's song titles. And then an excerpt from the lyrics.
Okay.
So it'll say Sadie Hawkins dance, and then you click on it, and I guess the flip side of the card says, Sadie Hawkins dance in my khaki pants, there's nothing better, oh, oh, oh. And it has that for multiple songs, which I guess is good because...
We should play this game to brush up on our Relient K knowledge.
I know, and it would be useful because there's a number of Relient K fan quizzes out there, 2 of which I came across that just had to do with this song.
Did you find anything else interesting?
So on page 11 or 12 of my deep dive, I found this pretty cringy article written in June of 2002 that was an interview with Matt Thiessen for this album. And this interview, I want to revisit a number of times because it's pretty long. I will just go over what was said about this song. And that is the interviewer said, and I found this on truetunes.wordpress.com, and I don't think that is where the article originated. I think that it was just moved there at some point because there were a couple articles on there about different things. There was one with John Warren about Boxcar Racer and things like that.
Okay.
So the interviewer, known as MM said, "My friend, I think he did an interview with you guys. He insists that the ska riff on What Have You Been Doing Lately... Thiessen, is a Suicide Machines riff? I think I've talked to that guy before. Yeah, okay. I remember that interview. Jason. Thiessen, that was in Minneapolis. Yeah. Thiessen, at the Student Union. That's funny. Yeah, I was listening to that Suicide Machines record, but he said that before. I didn't rip it off, but he told me that before. It wasn't blatant or anything, but I do like that record. It was off I forget what the record was called. I think it might have been self-titled. The weird one where they slow everything down.
I I was listening to you, but I absolutely couldn't follow the things being said. So supposedly the opening riff of this song.
If this is a real interview, because I questioned it a few times because of the odd nature that it was written in.
Yeah, it sounds.
But there
maybe it's
are.
fake.
I don't think so.
Oh.
I don't know.
Okay.
I honestly don't know if it's fake or not. But
speaking of that, there was this interview that would get referenced all the time in relation to Weezer that I absolutely didn't believe, and it would constantly be like referenced back in Wikipedia articles and stuff. And then when I stopped looking at Weezer stuff online, and one day I went back, like I couldn't find that article anymore. I'm like, did it finally get deleted? Because it just seemed like someone's fan fiction of them interviewing Rivers. 2 Weezer references in one episode. High five.
There are things that lead me to
Denied.
believe that it's real, that it's not fake.
Okay.
It's really long, and I don't think you want me to go over the entire thing right now because it is really, really long.
Maybe we have to
but
do
there
a
are some
special
really
episode.
Yeah, there are some really great moments in this interview. It starts off just interviewer. So you're Canadian, eh? Matt Thiessen, yeah. Interviewer, do you get teased about that at all? Thiessen, not so much. Once in a while, you'll hear a little Canadian crack. Mostly the boys in the band will just make some sort of joke like how I'm incapable of doing something because I'm Canadian. But for the most part, nobody even knows. You did some research. Interviewer, well, I think you said it in, Thiessen, in a song. Yeah, that's research, I guess.
Oh, I remember this article. I remember
See?
that particular
Legit.
exchange. I read this article back in the early 2000s. Oh, wow. I remember that. I remember that exchange. I really do remember that particular exchange.
Do you remember this part? Because this was kind of mind-blowing. Interviewer, can you briefly give me your take on the whole Abercrombie and Fitch thing?
Yes!
Thiessen.
Didn't I tell you about this?
No.
I
So
never
this
told
was
you this
news
story?
to me when I read it.
I think this is a real interview. No, I know all about this. They were going to have, I don't remember what song, but something off Anatomy, or I guess if this might have been Three Lefts or something. Definitely in the first 3 records. They were going to have...
This was from 2002, and I believe the interviewer only references songs from this album, so I think it was before Two Lefts.
So they were
came
talking
out.
about having Relient K be like, you correct me if I'm wrong, but either played over the speakers in the store or possibly part of like a compilation for Abercrombie and Fitch or something like that.
They don't go into detail.
Okay, and
Matt
then
Thiessen doesn't go into
Christians
detail.
find out about, and then and they say we're going to boycott the band, we're going to boycott Goatee Records if Relient K ends up in Abercrombie, and they're like, this would have been good for the ministry, because at the time Relient K was still considered, like a lot of Christian bands were considered to be ministries. Some, they're not just playing their music, but they're out there like preaching, actually testifying about Christ to people. So I remember this interview. I never told you that Abercrombie story.
No, and it must have been a compilation or something, because they definitely played their music in the stores, because or at least later they did.
Yeah, maybe they got a chance to do it again and they were like, forget it. Because I remember now I'm questioning this interview was ever real. But when I read that, I got really upset by that, because I was like, because when it comes to Christian rock, like MXPX was always my favorite band, and I never really thought of them as a Christian band, but I knew that they were Christian. It's in their lyrics and their early albums and stuff. But I saw how they were like, we're just a band. We're a band and we play music. We go out on stage and we play music, and then when we're done, we don't preach to you because we're not preachers. The point is, that Relient K, like at the time, they see themselves as a ministry essentially as well. They're like, we'll get our music into Abercrombie and that'll be great.
Yeah, the Matt Thiessen in the interview, I'm saying the Matt Thiessen in the interview since we're a little sketchy on if it's real or not, but he says, yeah, we thought it would be really a great ministry opportunity to minister to some frat boys. Jesus also talks about knowing like when to back down and when not to cause other people to stumble. And then he says, so we basically cut our losses. But yeah, I remember being a teenager and shopping in Abercrombie and Hollister and Be My Escape playing. I specifically remember Be My Escape playing in Hollister multiple times, and possibly the one I'm waiting for. There was another song off that they definitely played in Hollister, and Hollister and Abercrombie are the same company. And now, like, every single one of those stores plays something off the Christmas album. Even then, I think they were playing, you know, even since the Christmas album came out, because they're one of the few, like, sort of pop punk kind of bands, like young, hip, rockin' bands that does a Christmas album with covers. So, like, you can hear their version of, like, 12 Days of Christmas or Hark the Herald anytime you go into an American Eagle or an Abercrombie or a Hollister or an Aeropostale, like, if they're still in business around the holidays.
Yeah, so, I mean, by later on, they were probably like, well, if this story was true, they're
so
like...
2 years later,
yeah,
by 2004, when comes out... I mean, I definitely heard it last Christmas. I heard Relient K playing, like, as I passed by an American Eagle.
Right.
It's just a really long interview with some cringiness and some, I guess, informative stuff. Whether you believe it's real or not, there's some weird mistakes in it that would lead you to wonder. But at the same time, it could just be, it's like, you know, from a recorder or whatever. It's the cadence that they were having in the conversation, and he just wrote it up as is.
Right.
That could be.
Right. I'm so excited you found that interview. I remember that interview.
I will send you the link.
Yay.
But I mean, he talks about, Matt Thiessen goes on to talk about Blink-182 and the Get Up Kids and Jimmy Eat World and all sorts of different band stuff. So I think that we should revisit this at some point in time for sure. I actually wish I had found this earlier, because the interviewer says the song Pressing On is pretty similar to a popular Blink-182 song.
But that's not...
And Thiessen says, oh, really? Which one? And the interviewer says, damn it. And then Thiessen says, oh, yeah. And then the interviewer says, do you get compared to them often? And, like, how do you feel about that?
Well, Pressing On was similar to a Sum 41 song.
He does.
Okay.
Matt Thiessen goes on to say that. Thiessen says the Pressing On song, that chord progression, and the interviewer says it's gold. Thiessen says, yeah, it's just everybody uses it. Actually, I think I was listening to a lot of Sum 41 at the time. So if you listen to the EP that they came out with before All Killer, No Filler, it would probably be even more of a good comparison. But basically, when you're writing pop punk music and you want to keep it poppy and not too weird, there's only so much you can do. So I know how my melodies and my chord progressions are similar, so I just keep doing it. And I'm like, you know what? Our voices are different. We put harmonies on and stuff. Sometimes we add different instruments, different keyboards. It's never going to be exactly the same. We're never going to rip anyone off on purpose. So we're just going to do it. And if we get compared, so what? We do get compared to Blink. I like Blink. So it's not necessarily a bad thing. I'm never a big fan of, if you didn't want your kids listening to Blink-182, have them listen to Relient K. Obviously, it's good to have your own identity as well. But, you know, comparisons don't get me down either. And then the next section of the article is about what have you been doing lately.
Well, where was that interview when we were talking about Pressing On?
I know. It didn't pop up for that. It popped up for this, though. And I clicked into it because I have yet to find it, and I don't know if it's maybe in a different article on this site, because like I said, there's a number of different articles on this one, like, really long blog, as well as some videos. And I clicked into it because it said something about the ska riff from this song, and I never actually found that wording.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, did you look into any song meanings?
Oh, I did. I forgot all about them.
I have them up on my screen if you'd like me to.
Oh, go for it.
So there's some interesting, like, not anything is it's only 17 comments. Nothing is crazy as softer to me, where Blink, bringing up Blink-182 again, where a Blink fan came in and said, Christian music's stupid. You're all stupid for liking it. This one is just some civil debate about whether or not peer pressure, like, is good or bad, I guess. So,
peer pressure is bad, kids.
American Skater said, I think this song is about how friends can change when you go off to college. Ones that used to be clean started getting into stupid things like drinking and stuff.
You know what? E-Skater 95 or whatever you said.
America Skater.
America Skater. a lot of kids drink when they go away to college. You
A
know,
lot of kids drink before they go away to college.
yeah, I didn't really drink before I went to college. I didn't really have an interest. We had Jewish friends who were very close to our family, so we would go over for Seder, and it is typical that you have a glass of wine with that. So as a teenager, I would have like a wine at our friend's Seder.
If you live
And
in
it
France, you start drinking from the age of 3.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing, is that it's a very American culture thing to
It
like
is.
be so against drinking, and it's so ingrained in other cultures to the point where, and I
There-
mean, hot take,
Yeah.
I think it's actually better the way they do it in other places, like in England and stuff,
It
where
takes
you
the
can
mystery away.
It takes the mystery away. You can actually drink in like Europe before you can drive, which is great because you get all of that out of your system before
Right.
you can ever get behind a wheel.
In the 5 Iron Frenzy DVD documentary, they talk about how they go to Europe at one point, and they go to a Christian festival. So think of all the Christian festivals that we may have been to in our lives here. They
Yeah.
go to a Christian festival in Germany, and there's beer backstage.
Of course.
And none of the Christians are like, oh my gosh, there's beer back here. Because there's not this like idea that you have to be this like, especially because this person, American skater, said people used to be clean and now they're into beer and stuff. Like people don't have to be clean. Like it's all a matter of perspective about what is or isn't sin. Like I said, like there's
Yeah.
certain things like harming people and like, you know, I don't know, like certain things are undeniably bad for humanity and therefore would be sin. But it's like there is an American perspective to say like drinking is bad.
Yeah, it's a very like Americanized idea.
Yeah, because drinking, like I mentioned earlier, is actually intrinsically ingrained in Christianity.
Yeah.
Like
Jesus turned water into wine.
Jesus turned water into wine. Like I said, there are you know, you drink wine at Catholic, and some people don't think of Catholics as Christians, but they are Catholic. You know, Catholics drink wine for their.
We have communion where it's
Communion,
supposed
yeah.
to be wine, but
And-
we've changed it because of kids
Yeah,
and laws and
right.
everything to
There are
grape
Protestant.
juice.
There are Protestants that drink wine as well. Oh my gosh. I know so many Christians who just drink wine all day long. It's ridiculous. Like, oh, we're allowed to drink all the wine we want, but oh, if you're drinking liquor and beer, oh.
Danny was a good boy. Danny didn't drink until he was like 23.
And I really didn't drink out of any kind of religious thing. I just didn't drink until I was 23, just because I was sort of like not interested. For the same reason I didn't drive until I was like almost 18. I was probably late 17 when I drove because I was just like, why grow up?
Yeah,
Some people never grow up.
I didn't drink in high school, and I didn't really have any desire to. I was actually like, if there was like a party or something, which I was not a party girl. I didn't go to a lot of parties. Same goes for college. I think I went to 2 or 3 parties in my entire college career. And one of them was like, or maybe 2 of them even were for graduation, like house parties the night after, like 2 nights after graduation or whatever. But I would have friends who I would be like, okay, and they would be like, oh, we're drinking. And I'm like, that's fine. I'll be the designated driver. And I was totally cool with being the designated driver. I just didn't really have a desire to do it. But I wasn't going to like shame other people for wanting to party or whatever. It just wasn't what I wanted to do. And then when I went to college, it was kind of presented as a thing where it's like, you go to college and like people drink and that's like when you start or whatever, even though you're underage. And it's funny because my mom was like, listen, you're going to college. I know you're going to drink. Just please, if you do it, I'd prefer it if you did it at home. And, you know, if you go to a party or whatever, just never drive. She's like, it's totally cool. I get it. She even bought me Smirnoff Ices once or twice because she's like, hey, as long as you're going to be safe, I get it. I was in college once.
Well, RK Fool in January 21st, 2002 said, it's not about how people change going to college. It's about how they change throughout their lives and are often influenced by peer pressure. And I read this, and I'm like, oh, this is Danny speaking again. I read this, and I'm like, oh, that's a pretty good perspective on the song. But then they say, they start to drink or become kind of slutty, etc. And it saddens them to see how easily their friends have changed and didn't stand up for their beliefs. So this is like, so now I'm starting to, and I've definitely, now I'm starting to think like, you know, Christianity in America, it's like there's this standard of clean living that doesn't exist elsewhere in the world. And I'm wondering, like, because as we grew up, like, this is the kind of Christian pop culture that we grew up in, right? And then we became adults and we watched other friends who we knew in churches and stuff, like, either totally become atheists or become sort of reformed, or just, just more people become more liberal and people become more open to being a human being, right? So I'm wondering if, like, this American Christian standard of clean living is so unreasonable. And I'm not even talking about, like, the saving yourself and the virginity stuff and, like, all that kind of stuff. I'm just talking about, drinking and partying and, like, listening to music and, like, the real regular stuff of this standard of clean living is so tough that once you leave the nest of your parents' home from that kind of Christian environment, you have no chance of keeping up with it. Like, because you're a human being and you're like a roll of cranberry sauce that can never be properly placed in the same form back into that can. Like, you're ready to just spread out and mush all around.
I don't know, Dan. That stuff's really processed.
You're like, well, actually,
like, go right back in.
You know what? It's toothpaste. I don't know why I said cranberry sauce. It's the toothpaste. You're the toothpaste out of the tube. You can never be put back in. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's like this standard of clean living. It's like you leave that world and now, like, you're ready to just actually be a human being, but you go to this extreme, right? So Matt Thiessen might be talking about he might be talking about more specifically an American Christian problem of, like, yeah, your friends changed because they couldn't live up to this standard that the American Christian Protestant churches put on these kids who barely know what they feel if they're not in this particular sort of environment. And I mentioned, like, this doesn't even include the virginity stuff, which Magnified Pod talked about. It was a very good episode. It was a very serious episode. They talked very specifically about the whole, like, saving yourself for marriage and the pledge cards and the promise rings and stuff, and how that kind of stuff really did psychological damage to the kids of that generation.
Oh, wow.
Because, like, they were already, like, hormonal kids. And, like, yeah, you shouldn't just go out as a basically a baby, as, like, a young teenager and just start sleeping around, but to just have this other standard of, like, you can't even think it, you can't even masturbate, you can't even imagine it. Like, to have that standard, once you're clear of that, you just go to the further extreme. So maybe that's what Justin and Vanessa are really experiencing. Maybe they were just so clean, they were forced to be so particularly Christian that they couldn't live up to that standard anymore. And it really damages people's relationship with Christ in a way, because they think that way of living is required to believe in Christ. Meanwhile, like I said, in Europe, and like you said, in Europe, like, people are drinking it before they drive, but they still believe in Christ. It has nothing to do with their belief in Christ or their salvation. It has nothing to do with the salvation they claim. You know what I mean? So when they mess up or they don't live quote unquote clean by their own standards, they're not worried about it because there's not that same strict standard that they have here. But then in America, these kids, they go off to college, they start the party, and they're like, I'm now damned. I might as well lean into it. I'm having fun. Like, I'll never believe in Christ again because it's like, it's...
Yeah, it's funny. I definitely heard people say that when I was in high school. I remember even people being like, because I wasn't, like, super hardcore, but, like, I wore, diamond cross necklace, and I, went to youth group every Sunday, and I believed in the Lord, and I was bullied for it. And those same kind of people would just be like, whatever, I'm going to hell anyway.
Right.
And that was a very young age to just be like, yeah, whatever. And sure, it's said in a joking manner, but that sort of idea being out there is like, when you go to that, it's like, well, you can do anything because there's no consequence. Right.
There's gotta be a nice little middle ground.
Yeah.
Well, maybe Relient K knew that this song was a little judgmental. Maybe they knew they were accidentally sort of going back into that judgmental ground of My Girlfriend, because according to Setlist FM anyway, and as we've said, early 2000s Setlist FM is not trustworthy. Setlist FM only records one live performance of this song ever at
Oh,
the
wow.
Glass House in Pomona.
Do you remember this song ever being played at early shows?
Not specifically.
Huh.
If you told me it was, I'd be like, sure, but I couldn't. And this is the thing: I didn't find a single live performance on YouTube. First,
No, I wonder if that's because of
it's a deeper cut off of a early album. I don't know. They according to the Setlist FM anyway. And this is the first song we're talking about that I didn't find a single. Like I said, I didn't find a single live video.
Wow.
Performed by the band. Yeah. And good news for you, Jess. If you're ready to, is there anything else you want to say?
No, let's dive into covers.
Well, let's do it. Let's dive into cover.
Oh, wow.
Let's dive right into the cover that exists for this song. And we're actually going to do it backwards. Normally I do the fan and goofy and weird stuff first, but we've only got one cover. So we're going to do the cover first, and then we'll go back and finish with the fan stuff.
So this is just a deep cut.
This is a deep cut. I thought of this as more, I didn't think this was a hit, but I thought that this was maybe more of a popular song.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is, in trying to pick songs each week, I often have this problem of like, oh, we can't do that song yet. Oh, we can't do that song yet. Sometimes I'll take Spotify.
But clearly we can.
Yeah, we could do this song now.
I think you and I just think of whatever our favorite songs are. We're like, well, this is clearly a hit. But like, maybe they totally aren't.
No, I don't think What Have You Been Doing Lately is a hit at all. Because we've only got one guy doing a cover.
I love his Epic Sprite t-shirt.
This is Pesto Pesto. And it's not even a cover. It's a vocal cover.
Oh, interesting.
He's just going to sing along to the song.
Is it Jimmy Pesto?
It is Jimmy Pesto. And he's over there screaming at Bob. And he's like, you suck.
Hi, I'm Jack, and I'm going to be singing What Have You Been Doing Lately by Relient
It's Jack Pesto.
K.
What have you been doing lately? Your life could use improving greatly. I just
What year was this? 2012. April 15th, 2012.
what's going on, but everything that goes is going wrong.
He's got the DJ thing going. He's got to put his big headphones up one up.
So Jimmy Pesto, that's whatever his name was. I missed his first name. Jimmy Pesto.
Jack Pesto.
Jack Pesto. He's playing in his room or some sort of room, maybe some sort of office, and he's got big headphones around his neck. And he looks like he's going to be doing a DJ set to this song. But I think really what he's doing is
throw some scratches in there.
I think he put the actual track in post, right? And he doesn't want the song to be picked up by his microphone where he's singing into. So he uses his headphones close to his head.
Smart.
But he doesn't want to have his headphones over his actual ears while he's performing because he wants everyone to see that handsome face. So he's just got them around his neck and he's just hearing the song. But I think as he's singing, he's drowning out the low sound in his headphones. So he finally lifts one headphone up to one ear.
Right.
And then he starts on those ones and twos and he's scratching up that song.
When I saw Justin, he said he was Justin, visiting on spring break.
Then he does, and we'll skip ahead a little bit because then he starts doing some fun stuff like this.
Oh.
Much you've changed. What have you been doing lately?
So first of all, when he was harmonizing with himself, he did the split screen thing where it's him in each side of the frame. Mm-hmm. And then it cuts back to suddenly just him.
Right.
In the center.
No harmonies.
And then when he does the screaming part, it like pops up in the upper right-hand corner for a minute and then disappears. And then it pops up again and then disappears.
What have you been doing lately? Your life is improving greatly. I just wanted to know.
And his face looks, he's like, ah!
Yep. If you do that face that you make when you do that, that is exactly what it is.
And then I don't know if this part of the song is a solo or if it's just kind of a breakdown or what it is. But after, when there's that extended part in the middle, we didn't even talk about this in the music. But I love the middle part of the song, the sort of like bridge or breakdown.
Yeah,
that part is great. That part of the
is.
song is so good.
The music in this is so good.
It's just a great tune. It's a really good song. Like Dumpweed, I'm just going to ignore the lyrics. So here's what Jack Pesto, is that his name? I keep forgetting his name. Yes. This is what Jack Pesto decides to do when there's no lyrics in the song. He's just doing a little
He's
jig.
doing a little jig, doing a little dance.
That's a very nice jig, Kearney.
He's doing too much with his hands.
Isn't this nicer than bullying kids or whatever she says? He's like dancing back and forth. He's
Yeah.
doing like Danny dances. This is how I
Yes.
dance to Jessica to like basically annoy her.
Doesn't annoy me.
If
It's
I want to
adorable.
annoy Jessica or if I want to get back on her good side, I just do these goofy little dances where you barely
I love
move
it.
your arm. You just kind of sway.
Danny and Jimmy Pesto Pesto are adorable. Oh, goodness gracious.
Yeah, so that's Pesto Pesto.
Nice.
That is the only cover that I could find of what have you been doing lately. So now we'll work our way backwards and we'll wrap things up in a little bit because we got a bunch of weird fan videos.
Oh, wow.
We've got the old standby for Relient K fans. We have some little kids dancing to their favorite Relient K song.
I was hoping it was ship videos.
We do have some ship videos, don't worry. But in this case, we have Rachel White in 2011. She uploaded these kids, and they actually act out the song a little bit. So they're little kids. They're like, I don't know, maybe 6. And they're just rocking out in their living room. They're like, we don't really have anything to do today. And there's Justin. So it's this little girl, and she's wearing a red baseball hat, and she looks like I said, she looks like a college D-bag. They totally nailed Justin's look in this video.
It's so funny because we have a Justin.
Don't we have a couple Justins?
We have a couple Justins. We have a good Justin, and then we have a Justin from this song, Justin. We have a sideways hat. Goober jerk Justin.
So this little girl plays the college party dude totally great, and watch what she does.
She holds up a sign that says 1998.
So also the little girls in this video, it seems to me that they are like portraying Justin and Matt Thiessen catching up with each other as like a psychiatrist session.
Okay, I was wondering what the thing with the glasses was. Just
Matt
to
Thiessen
show that you're mature? Or?
Yeah, the narrator character she's the little girl. She's wearing glasses. It might even be the same little girl playing both characters. I can't really tell. And she's like, she keeps looking down her glasses, like doing that shade tipping where she's looking over the top of her glasses, like, oh, I can't believe Justin's been drinking Miller Lite. Oh, and then she's like polishing her glasses and just making these exasperated faces. But Justin is laying on the couch. And he's like using his hands to talk, and she's writing, and the narrator character is writing in a notepad. So I'm like, is that how they perceive this song? Did we get it totally wrong? Are Justin and Matt Thiessen? Is Matt Thiessen a psychiatrist? And he's catching up with Justin. He's like, oh, you're my new client. I haven't seen you since 1998.
Psychiatrists aren't supposed to be super judgy, though.
So
oh no, I guess it is 2 kids. Are they twins?
maybe they're twins of some sort. They look very similar. But look what happens when Justin develops a taste for Miller Lite.
He drinks a ton of Sierra Mist.
She just drinks a ton of Sierra Mist, exactly. And then she throws up.
Into a little trash bin. Oh no.
And then the narrator character writes,
That's cute.
It's cute.
It's a
when
child.
it says
It's cute.
what happens to the salvation you claim, she's drawing on a piece of paper a Christian cross, but a much, much, much bigger question mark.
Yeah.
It's kind of adorable. This is going on the socials.
It's cute. It's a kid. I don't know why she's blowing her nose at that part.
Oh, there's 3 girls.
Oh my goodness.
They're doing the air guitar. Justin is rocking out.
I wonder if a parent helped or it's just the 3 of them doing this.
Maybe.
Probably it's just the
They're
3
so
of them
young
doing
and they're doing
this.
such a good job
Yeah.
with the camera and stuff.
Well, I think one's at least probably 8 or 9.
So let's see what happens with Vanessa. It's a psychiatrist thing.
Yeah.
They're playing the song in a little psychiatrist scene.
That's an adorable interpretation.
The dad's making a sandwich in the background. Dad, get out of the shot. Get out of the kitchen.
Dad's popping over a Miller Lite.
Dad's exactly.
Dad, we're doing a thing. We're making a video.
Well, we know Dad wasn't the cameraman anyway. So then we go from that to a couple of Vanessas. Because from that adorable, wholesome little kids doing that thing to two girls in their tight sweaters, it gets kind of uncomfortable. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm jokes like shaming. Like, they're just two girls hanging out in tank tops in their bedroom. But we've talked about this in the past. This comes up when I look for Relient K videos all the time, and Jessica's talked about it. Her friends made them do videos like this. When you find a video of just like teen girls in their bedroom wearing like their relaxing clothes, like, I'm always like, I shouldn't be finding these. I don't want to be finding these, but they're the only things for this song. So it's these girls who I think are like probably 16, 17.
Danny, I told you not to upload my videos from high school to YouTube.
And they're singing into hair. There's three girls. Oh my gosh, is this the same girls all grown up?
Oh my gosh. No, the other one was 2011. This one's 2007.
They're wearing very short shorts.
I have said it before. I will say it again. Thank goodness there was no YouTube, or if there was, I didn't know about it when I was that age, because OMG, I have videos just like this with me and my friends.
They're using hairbrushes and hair crimpers or whatever as their microphones.
Yeah, that's what you do.
That's what you do. Here we have...
Can you fast forward a little? I just want to know if one of their dads walks through in the background with a sandwich.
Speaking of girls wearing clothes that are revealing, for some reason... Don't worry, I'll explain.
Whoa.
This
what?
next person, Kazoos Are Hardcore, in 2008... uploaded a video.
Is this the Kazoo and You kid? Is this his channel?
Hey,
Man.
You're special.
Thanks, partner.
So this other person named Kazoos Are Hardcore just edited together like sort of a fan video with like Naked Brothers Band and like High School Musical clips. And I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. It's just...
Speaking of promise rings, isn't that the Joe Bros?
Yeah, some Jonas Brothers videos. So the Naked Brothers Band and the Jonas Brothers are basically the same thing. So it's called What Have You Been Doing Lately? Disney and Nickelodeon. So it's just a bunch of their favorite tween shows from Disney and Nickelodeon.
The Naked Brothers Band and the Jonas Brothers are not basically the same thing, Danny.
The Jonas Brothers wouldn't get naked because they saved themselves and all that. Oh, and they talk about Vanessa. They cut to Vanessa Hudgens from High School, specifically High School Musical 2. I know which one is the one where they work at the pool. That's High School Musical 2.
Well, it's 2008. What else do they have to work with? That's the Jonas Brothers.
Gotcha. So where it gets creepy
is
suddenly whoever edited this video
What?
starts cutting in still images of Disney and Nickelodeon stars, like basically not the fappening, but fappening style photos of known
like
Disney stars. Like some of them.
Whoa! Oh my gosh! Wait, why on earth? I guess because what they think that so is the idea that they think that the Jonas Brothers were like fake in their whatever. Is that why they picked them? Because
no,
I'm
they
like,
picked
why
multiple
does it?
bands.
Why does it feel like? But also, why choose? So the footage of the Jonas Brothers is specifically of them playing music,
Right.
So it's weird when. So I've seen this once before through Relient K. Why do people do that? Where they put music to like other people playing music,
Yeah.
but it's not the band that's playing the music.
I think.
Who is
I did not
that?
watch. I have no idea. Oh, that's Britney Spears' little sister that got pregnant.
right.
What's her name? Yeah. So,
Jamie Lynn.
Right. And
There's some risque pictures in here.
I think there's some like Miley Cyrus, like when she was really young and like took phone photos that got hacked or whatever. But so yeah, it got creepy real fast.
Yeah, it did.
At first, I was actually trying to figure out all these shows because I'm like, okay, there's High School Musical 2, I'm like, I think that's Naked Brothers Band. So it's just someone's tribute video to the tween shows of Nickelodeon and Disney. But then they randomly start cutting in the stars of those shows with their like hacked iPhone photos.
And the
some revealing model pictures of like Zac Efron.
Yeah.
They're
But Zac Efron's one wasn't that revealing. I remember when that photo came out. With the shirt and everything, but it's like he's got a shirt on. It's just twisted up a little. Like, it doesn't show anything.
So after watching those last two videos, I'm definitely on a list somewhere.
Did you watch them from your personal account or from Sadie Hawkins Pod?
From Sadie Hawkins Pod.
Okay.
So that I could have my note.
Sadie Hawkins Pod can be on a list somewhere.
So then there's this really, really weird one. This is just like really...
Now it's weird?
It's super simplistic, but really weird. Basically, it's the whole song, and for the first 2 minutes of the song, it's just a black background with some really plain white text that says, "This is a video I made at 8:55." They mean they made it it was 8:55 in the world when they made it. At first I was like, well, the video's not 8 minutes long.
Right.
So like, this is a video I made at 8:55. It shows the passage of time.
Whoa.
Music by Relient K. So it's just this text for the first 2 minutes of the song. That's it. That's how this whole video starts. And then if you skip ahead to 2 minutes and 20 seconds into the video,
it cuts to a digital clock readout of 8:55. It's
now just 1 minute of a close-up of somebody's digital clock.
Now it's zoomed in on the 5.
That's all this is. That's all this is. It says 8:55 on like an alarm clock. It's a green digital clock.
This is amazing. This is my favorite art film.
This is definitely an art film. And we wait and suddenly it turns to 6. It doesn't happen on camera. He or she missed it on camera. And then I'm wondering, is it going to turn to 8:57 before the end of the video? And it does not.
So the title of the video is Relient K, What Have You Been Doing Lately? 8:55, and then in parentheses, Steven's masterful video. Ooh, you lost me, bro. You can't call your work masterful. It doesn't work like that. You just have to let it be.
Yeah.
And if someone finds it masterful, you take it.
So...
And you be gracious for it.
There's so many weird YouTube videos just called "What Have You Been Doing Lately?" and variations on that sentence, but there are a lot that match it. You know exactly what you've been doing. What have you been doing lately? Then we're taking a trip back. We got 2 videos left. We're taking a trip back to meet an old friend. Do you remember Lakeisha Kruger?
I do. I recall that name.
Yes, we're gonna hear another song by Lakeisha Kruger.
Oh, this was Lakeisha Kruger.
So for those who didn't hear, I can't remember what song it was. Was it Pressin' On or something? Basically, I found this YouTube channel called Lakeisha Kruger, where this bizarre thing is that they have all of this sort of like stock music, Pond 5 sort of music that you can like, generic music you can use for the background of movies and projects and stuff. But for some reason, it's not enough that they just have this music. They love to upload it as a lyric video for the song you're not listening to. So in this case, it is a lyric video for What Have You Been Doing Lately, set to this little tune. What have you been doing lately?
This almost sounds like it could be off air for free.
It does. What's going on? Oh, I love that the screen actually changes as if we're actually listening to the song.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like, does she expect you to be like, you know what? I want a lyric video, but not the music. I'll put on the music myself. It's like how riff tracks used to be, where you would have to like.
Oh yeah, you'd have to match it up yourself.
Yeah, you had to match up the
audio.
They still do
file. They still do that for the big movies that they can't. The big movies they can't get.
Yeah, it's like that. I'm fascinated by in the sidebar.
He said he was Justin visiting for spring break. I
There's
said, what a surprise, you're one of those guys I haven't seen since 1998. Okay, sorry, what?
There's a video in
Yeah.
the sidebar that says, I left The Sims unpaused all night by accident, and this is ... And that is some clickbait directed right at me.
We'll open that to watch later. So finally, last one. We'll go watch that video after we watch this. This is actually pretty fun. For some reason, the frame like shrinks with inside the frame, which I think is just some sort of like old YouTube glitch that didn't get fixed for this video. But these kids at some sort of like school, this film, one subscriber. Well, you got 2 subscribers now. In 2007, number 1 Shima said, "This film I made as my final project. My friends in the class shot the film as I took what they had and edited it. But I made the film play backwards."
Oh, sweet.
So it's just a bunch of like fun little things. We don't need to hear the song again. But here we
That's
go.
great.
Yeah.
That's super fun.
They're like dropping things and they're ripping paper backwards. And he's sitting on the ground. Oh, and he flicks something out of his hand. I guess that's Justin. It's so bizarre.
This is like a guy playing with a bag backwards.
He's like flipping the bag everywhere, but and he's itching his butt.
Yeah.
They keep dropping things so they fly into
Yeah.
their hand. Some girls show up at some point. We see Vanessa. A ball flips all around, like they bounced a soccer ball through. It's all real clever stuff. Where's Vanessa? Where are you, Vanessa? There she is. There's Vanessa. So let's see what happens.
I want to know
when-
what this class is. Was it a film
This is
class?
definitely a school building.
Yeah, what kind of class was this?
She's tying her hair in backwards motion. So I guess the forward motion was he had a soccer ball under his shirt like he's pregnant, and then he drops it and lets it bounce away, but when it plays backwards a ball just bounces up to him and then comes up under his shirt. It's real nice. That's real clever. That's what those kids have been doing lately. And now they're much older and probably drinking Miller Lite because this was 12 years ago. So
They're for sure drinking Miller Lite.
yeah. So we didn't even talk about it, but I'm all into beer now because we went to Portland and we
Yeah.
visited breweries. Like, this
Yep.
would have been good stuff to talk about at the top of the show.
Danny's
but
all about the craft beers
I'm
now.
all about the craft beers, yeah. So I haven't developed a taste for Miller Lite. I have
Nope.
a taste for, so like whatever's got like a Dr. Doom on it or something. I'm like, yes, this is a fine Dr. Doom vintage.
He was already into it a little bit
It's a
because
Patton Oswalt bit I just ripped off. I just don't want people thinking I'm stealing that joke.
in Colorado, there's a
Oh,
craft
Ska
brewery,
Brewing.
yeah, called Ska Brewing, and so Danny has like all the
I have a
those
collection
ones,
of Ska
yeah.
Brewing cans, but I've had those since before I was into beer.
Yeah.
I only drank that beer because I like Ska. So that is what have you been doing lately? And don't forget, Relient K Vinyl, get out there and vote. Vote for your 12 favorite Relient K songs. Will What Have You Been Doing Lately be on there? Excuse me, I hiccuped in the middle of that. It's like a cursed statement I was trying to make. Will What Have You Been Doing Lately be on the fan-picked vinyl?
Not likely.
I think it's very likely. I like an underdog story. So get out there, vote for What Have You Been Doing Lately. Vote 12 times in a row. Let Matt Hoops know in the Twitter account that you're voting for What Have You Been Doing Lately.
Oh, we didn't talk about the outro. We have a new outro.
And that's right. Oh my gosh, we should talk about that. So we have a brand new outro music. And thank you. And you might have heard it last week. It was recorded after we recorded the episode. So we didn't get a chance to talk about it. But our friend David Park, who lives here in Los Angeles, he does lots of covers and stuff. And we're in a group on Messenger with him and some other people from Los Angeles that we met because of Blink 155 podcast. So he recorded this song right here, and it is what we'll play on the way out. And we'll each sing it differently every week, and
Yeah.
he did more than one version as well.
Yep.
But for these first 2 weeks, you're just going to hear the regular piano classic version of this. So we will hear from you next time. Let us know what you think of David _Parks song that goes a little something like this.
We just wasted 105 minutes of